Contractors, if you're working more hours now than you did when you're on the tools and your business would completely fall apart if you took 2 weeks off, I need to tell you something you're probably not going to like. You don't actually own a business. You've created yourself a job that you own. And it's probably the worst paid, most stressful job you've ever had. I'm going to show you exactly why this happens, the one thing that separates a real business from being self-employed, and what you need to do and what you need to fix if you want this thing to run without you, whether you want to sell it one day or just want your life back. So stick with me, because what I'm about to show you is the difference between being trapped for the next 20 years of your life or finally having some freedom. You can't afford to get this wrong, guys. This is your happiness. I work with contracting business owners every single week who are in the exact same position. They come off the tools, started a business, hired some lads, bought some vans and started generating some work for themselves. And now they're working 70, 80 hours a week. But in exchange for taking on all the risk and all the stress, they're now working 70 hours a week instead of 40 and seeing their kids even less than they did before. They can't take a holiday without everything going, I was going to swear then, they can't take a holiday without everything going wrong, should we say. They can't be ill and they can't switch off because every decision runs through them. Every quote needs their sign off, every customer wants to speak to them, and then they're absolutely exhausted. I mean, we've all been there, right? But here's what nobody tells you when you started your contracting business. The business you're creating will most likely only work when you're in it, which means you can't step back. You can't scale it properly. You can't really have a life. You're always checking your phone, even when you're out with your family. That's not business. That's a very expensive, stressful job that you can't quit, but you created. So let me show you what I mean. Think about this for a sec. What happens if you're not at your business for a month? Can somebody else price the jobs? Can someone else deal with the customers? Can anyone else in the business manage cash flow for you? Can anyone else keep everything running without you? Or will everything just turn into a complete disaster? What happens without you? For most contractors, what happens without you is not a lot. The business will crumble because everything runs through your head. You know how to price a job, but is that written down anywhere? Is there a pricing system your lads could follow without ringing you while you're trying to be on the beach with your family? Probably not. It's probably in your head. You know which customers pay on time and which ones are a pain in the arse, but is that tracked anywhere? Is there a credit control system that manages that on your behalf? Probably not. It's probably in your head. You know how to keep the cash flowing, juggle the VAT, make sure there's enough to cover payroll, but is there a system that shows what's coming in and what's going out ahead of time instead of just juggling it on a day-by-day basis? Probably not. Probably in your head. Your head equals the system. My handwriting equals poor. And here's the problem with that. Your head can't scale. Your head can't take a holiday. Your head can't be in two places at once. So you become the bottleneck in the business. And let me tell you about an aircon business owner I worked with in the Midlands a few years back. Really nice guy. They had about 5 engineers. They were doing about $500,000 a year in revenue. And he found himself working all week. Then when he got home, he had to do 4 hours of admin every night, which was causing him big issues at home. I asked him, if you disappeared for a month, what would happen to the business? A bit like I'm asking you guys now. He didn't even need to think about it. He said the business would be dead within a week, which is quite sad really, isn't it? If you invest all that time and energy into something that pays your bills, it could be dead within a week. But no one else could price the jobs. No one else knew which suppliers to use or what the margins were. No one else could handle the difficult customers. No one else knew what was profitable and what wasn't. To be honest, he struggled a little bit with that himself, despite putting in all the hours. He was the business, and that meant he was trapped. Now I tell you what happened 18 months later with the same guy. I think you'll enjoy this. The business had grown by around 30%. That's revenue and profitability. He had 2 more engineers, but he was working just 30 hours a week, not 70. And he no longer spent every single evening doing the admin that was getting him grief at home for not being present with the family. And he actually took his family on holiday for the first time in years. And he was so happy when he got back. He said he'd forgotten what it was like to be a normal working dad that can work and actually spend time with his family instead of picking between the two. He still owned the same limited company. He still operated in the same industry, but he had a whole different life, a whole different outlook, a whole different energy about him. So what changed? Only one thing. Systems. We put systems in the business. Here's what most contractors don't understand. Being needed, at the beginning, it feels good. When your phone rings at 7 at night because a customer only wants to deal with you, it's like a shot of dopamine. It feels like success. You feel like you're winning, because you worked for someone else before. Now you work for yourself and people want you. But when your lads can't make a decision without checking with you first, then it starts being a bit less important. You don't feel as important anymore. When you're the only one who knows how everything works, all of this is great and feels good because you feel important at the time, until one day it doesn't feel good anymore. In fact, it feels terrible because everything has to run through you. You're scared to check your phone. You're scared to go anywhere without signal. We all know what it's like. We've all been there and we've all had to learn this the hard way. So here's the truth. Being needed doesn't make you valuable. It makes you trapped. It makes you vulnerable rather than valuable, I'd say. And it makes your business impossible to step back from and impossible to scale to the next level. So needed equals trapped. Because a real business is one that works without you. That's it. That's the entire game of business. Because you don't have a business, you have a job. If your business depends on you being there every single day, it's not a business. It's a job you can't quit, can't sell, can't scale beyond what you personally can handle in your own head. So what actually makes a contracting business work without you? And it's that word again, systems. Not you, systems. Systems equals freedom. So let me break this down because this is where everything changes. A pricing system to ensure every overhead was covered, all travel and materials, and he got the profit margin he desired for every job. Because if pricing lives in your head like it did his, your business can't grow without you and you'll never ever be able to step back. We put in a cash flow system, not just you juggling the numbers in your head hoping there's enough to cover payroll, a system that shows you exactly what's coming in, what's going out, and when for the next 3 months, not just the past 3 hours. Because if cash management lives in your head, you're one bad month away from disaster. And you can't take time off without panicking about whether there's enough in the bank. You need a system to free yourself. You need a bookkeeping system, not just a shoebox of receipts and hand it to your accountant once a year. System that tracks every penny, every job, every cost in real time. Because if you don't know your numbers week to week, you are flying absolutely blind. And you can't make good decisions when you don't know what the actual data is. You need a marketing system, not just you relying on word of mouth and hoping the phone rings. A proper system that generates leads predictably, consistently, whether you are there or not. It's a business marketing system, not a you system. An example of that is I've got a LinkedIn playbook. It's basically a cheat code for business to business contractors. Predictable leads, consistent pipeline, and it works whether you're posting on LinkedIn or whether you're even in the country or not. Because if all your customers come through you personally, the business stops growing when you're not actively selling your services. You're also going to need a credit control system, not you chasing invoices when you remember or when the bank balance gets low. A system that tracks every invoice, follows up automatically and gets you paid on time to improve your cash flow. Because if the debt collection for your company and the credit control system lives in your head, you'll always have cash flow problems and you'll always be stressed about money. Whether you're owed a fortune or just a little bit, you'll always be chasing it. You need a system to take it out of your head. You need an HR system, having all the correct documents and processes for your business, not just some cheap generic templates you got from some online company. You need proper systems for finding people, onboarding them, training them, managing them, and what to do if it goes wrong. Because if you're the only one who can manage your team, you can't grow your business. You are the ceiling of the business. The business can't get bigger than what you can personally handle. Pricing, cash flow, marketing, bookkeeping, HR. All systems you need in your business. So the thing that probably surprised you, this looks intimidating, but none of this is complicated. You don't need software that costs you 10 grand. You don't need a degree in business. You just need systems that work for you. Simple systems written down that anyone can follow and you can delegate to other people. So let me tell you what happened with that aircon owner I mentioned earlier in the video. We spent about 6 months pulling everything out of his head and putting in systems into the business. We put in a pricing system to ensure every overhead was covered in his quotes, all travel and materials, and he got the profit margin he desired for every single job. No more loss-making work. Such a simple change, but makes such a huge difference. It can easily be taught to others to do for him. So you can delegate the pricing to other people, just like you can if you have a system. We put in his cash flow system, probably the biggest and quickest impact system you can introduce. Showed him 12 weeks ahead what's coming in, what's going out ahead of time. So no more nasty surprises, no more checking his online banking app every 5 minutes, hoping he's been paid. He can see into the future. We put in a credit control system, making sure his invoices went out at the right time to prevent delays. Automatic, so he didn't need to spend time constantly chasing and making sure the money comes in on time. The marketing systems, these are huge when you're trying to diversify your client base or move away from low margin regular clients. So we utilize his email list, regular communications to past customers he's worked with, and maintenance reminders as well to generate some quick income. Plus we introduce our bespoke LinkedIn playbook. That's great for generating leads for B2B contracting work, as we've proven across our portfolio and all of our mentees. I think that's generated 8 figures now. Proper HR system, so he didn't have to research what to do every night at home on his computer. Job descriptions, interview questions, training checklists for new starters, performance reviews, all the correct documents and processes. Everyone knows what's expected. Happy staff equals less drama. Less drama usually means happier men, happier business owners. And what's really important with this one, a bookkeeping system and a high-level bookkeeper, effectively the mother hen, making sure that everything is organised, everything coded properly and up to date instead of loads of admin just building up in the background. This way he knew his numbers every single week, not just once a year when the accountant tells him how much tax he owes. So it took us about 6 months to build it all out and get his team trained up on it. But within a year, he'd stepped back completely. Business was running without him. I think he still owns it. Still owns it. I wouldn't say runs it. I know he's got management in place now, but he's not in the business on a day-to-day basis. He works when he wants. He takes holiday without his phone ringing. He spends more time with his kids. I mean, just picking your kids up from school is so valuable, right? You're never going to get that time back. And the business is growing faster now than it did when he was doing everything himself, because he's not the bottleneck anymore. And here's the mad bit. Once the systems were in place, he actually enjoyed running the business again, because he wasn't drowning in it anymore. It wasn't taking up all his time, not just at work, but in the evenings. He could think about where the business was going instead of firefighting what was happening on that particular day in question. He could work on growth instead of just survival. He could put in a growth plan for the business, where he wanted to be, how much revenue he wanted to do, how much profit, how many staff did he really want. The systems freed him up. And that's what systems do. They give you Where is it? Systems equal freedom. There we go. They give you your life back. Now, here's the trap most contractors fall into. They think they need to be the best technician in their own business. It's like a pride thing, an ego thing. You're probably a bloody good electrician or plumber or whatever you were. And that's why you started the business in the first place. And now you think that's what my value is tied to. But it's not. We've moved on from that. Your value as a business owner isn't being good with the tools. Your value is building a business that works so it suits your lifestyle and funds your lifestyle. And that means letting go of being the best technician and becoming the person who builds the systems for the business. And to do this, you need to train other people to do certain parts of the business for you. And that's why you need systems. Because here's the reality. You could be the best in the country at what you do, but it doesn't matter. If your business depends on you being on the tools or pricing everything or managing everything, you'll never build anything that gives you freedom. You'll work yourself to death. You make decent money, but you'll always feel trapped. And it always put a bit of pressure on your home life as well. I mean, I see it all the time. Contractors in their 50s, 60s have been running businesses for 30 odd years. They want to slow down. They want to step back. They want to spend more time with the family, maybe sell the business or maybe just work less and put management in place. And they realise that they can't. And they could have done this years ago because the business is just them. It always has been, and it always will be, because they never invested in the systems. And that's heartbreaking. Imagine 30 years of graft and they're still trapped as they were on day one when they set up the business. So I tell you this, I want it to be a bit of a warning sign for you guys. Don't let that be you. Take action now. So what do you actually do about this? First things first, you need to be honest about where you currently are. If you can't take 2 weeks off without the business falling apart, you don't have a business that works without you. So we need to acknowledge that before we can change it. It's not an insult, it's just reality. We need to come to terms with reality. You can't fix a problem that you can't acknowledge. Second, you need to start pulling everything out of your head and putting it into systems and SOPs, standard operating systems. If I were you, I'd start with the thing that's causing you the most stress now. Is it cash flow? If it is, build a cash flow system. Is it margins and pricing? If it is, let's work on a pricing system. Is it you're always chasing money and you spend all your time doing that? Let's build you a credit control system. You don't need to fix everything overnight and all at once, but you do need to start. So start with your biggest pain point and implement a system of that to free you up so then you can focus on the next one. That's the game of business. You need to stop being the bottleneck. Every decision that runs through you is a decision that can't happen without you. Every quote you need to approve is a quote that can't go out when you're not there. Every customer only wants to deal with you is a customer. The business loses money if you're not there. So build the systems, train your people, take a step back and let go. And here's a bit that nobody tells you. Once you start building the systems, the business gets easier. A lot easier. Everything changes. You won't be working more. You'll be working differently. You will be factoring in the school runs. You will have proper data to make decisions off. And the business becomes something you own, not just something that owns you. Because I know sometimes it feels like the business owns you and you get that Sunday night dread. So if you're working 70 hours a week and your business would die without you, at least you now know why. It's not because you're not working hard enough. It's because you're working in a business that depends on you instead of building a business that can work, operate, and eventually scale without you, because you'll have the right people in the right seats in the business. And in order to do that, we need to put in systems that these people can learn to begin with and then give them the freedom to improve the systems themselves by bringing in better people as you grow. I've built and sold 6 businesses. Every single one of them had proper systems. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to sell it. That's how I could step back. That's how it was sellable. And selling those businesses, that's what changed my life. That really, really changed my life. And that's what I help contractors build now. Businesses that you can systemize. And the ones who get this sorted, don't stress anymore. They can take their holidays. They can start thinking strategically. They build something that gives them freedom. It improves their quality of life, not just pays the bills. And that changes absolutely everything. So if you want more like this on how to fix, grow, and systemize your contracting business, I'll put videos out every week. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any, and I'll see you in the next one.